Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, namaste, bonjour, hola, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Ken at 10. He said, quickly turning his phone to silent as a call comes in. How are you? Good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, the 9th of November. How are you? I hope you're well. This is Ken at 10, where we talk about all things, including property. Hope you're having a good day. Here in Southwest 16 Norbury, which is between Streatham and Croydon, by the way, a Zone 3 commuting area that you should invest in if you're looking for something that's close to the city, not too expensive. In fact, I went to London Bridge for a customer yesterday, and literally 30 minutes later, there I was in his offices, straight from Norbury, trains every 30 minutes. What's not to like? Apart from, of course, the disruptions to the service, but let's not go there. So a few things today. First of all, the weather, it's kind of not too bad, actually. It was raining as I came in, but the rain seems to have abated now, and the sun's out and the sky is quite blue. It's quite fresh, but actually quite warm for the time of year, which is nice. We need that, don't we? Because we don't want to switch that heating on, right? The government now found a new person to blame for the whole crisis. Apparently now it's early retirement is blamed for surging inflation. Well, 1 minute it's landlords, the next minute it's something else, then it's they didn't put up interest rates early enough, then it was too late, and now apparently it's all you nasty retirees out there. Unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, they've got to point the finger at somebody. Retirees of all people, really? Leave them alone. That's what I say. We are where we are. Let's think about where we can get to, not pointing the finger at others. So in terms of what's going on generally, well, you know what? We're still quite busy, actually. What I suspect we'll see over the next few months is more what we call multiple agencies. And this is where sellers wish to make sure that they get a sale and cement the deal by instructing more than one estate agent. If you don't know what that means, well, it means higher fees to the person who's selling, but it actually means that only the one agent that introduces the buyer actually gets the sale. So for us, that's good because we tend to get away with multiple agencies, the majority of our multiple agencies, and so it works quite well for us. I'd always say that if you can avoid this, you should. Why? Well, the thing about multiple agency is it's not just you that can see that there's a keenness to sell, it's the buyers. And if they see you pop up on various websites underneath each other, because that's what happens, you know, you'll pop up on Zoopla and Rightmove maybe 4 or 5 times, depending on how many agents you've instructed. And of course, a buyer having seen this thinks, there's a desperate seller. And that smack of desperation can lead to a lower price if you're not careful. So if you can avoid multi-agency by going for, my advice would be a short period of sole agency at least, so that you can expose it exclusively and everyone can think, oh, that's a sweet deal, one that's only available to me, as opposed to that one that nobody else wants, so why should I? You know, that's the danger. So multi-agency, nothing wrong with it. It certainly creates competition amongst agents. The selling agent does get a higher fee, but it can mean a lower final ultimate price for the property that you're selling. So I'd look at sole agency first. How do you do that? Well, get a few agencies round. They say 3, don't they? Seems to be the number. My advice is do your research and go with the people who you feel have got your back. You know, the independents usually, obviously I'm biased to this, but these days independent estate agents, where we have access to Rightmove and Zoopla, the same as everybody else, and they're the main platforms that people will be looking on, and of course on the market too, as a lesser so, but still there. And also ran, if you like. So, you know, we're all on those platforms. So the idea that by going with a multiple, the argument is that it will then be transferred to their other branches as well. Well, of course, the main thing is the audience. And if the audience are transferred to one branch, as it were, in the form of a portal, then that audience can see you anyway, regardless of whether that applicant is based in Balham or, you know, the argument with a lot of the large agencies, you know, we've got posh offices in Chelsea, therefore they'll be really interested in your property in SW16 because it will look so much cheaper. Largely, that's a bit of a fallacy because, of course, those looking in Chelsea would have a much higher budget and they're highly unlikely to come to Norbury. But there is what we call the migration route. And this is something that where buyers start out thinking, where would we like to live? Like to live in Clapham by the Common. Wow, that's expensive. And they migrate south because if you can't find what you want where you want, you've always got 2 choices. More money or other areas. Now, for most of us, the more money thing isn't an option. So therefore, we have to come out slightly further to try and get the value we need for the size of accommodation versus our circumstances. You know, if you've got a bigger family, then you need a commutable area that offers reasonable value. Then Norbury is quite a good option because we're zone 3, we're commutable, we're up and coming, we've got some cool coffee shops, some lovely people, and a great estate agent. What more could you want? So, you know, that's how people end up in Norbury mainly, is what I call the migration route. And there are those come from both sides, actually. We have those that come from Croydon, the other side of Croydon, for instance, South Croydon, that commute in, particularly those who drive and can't get past Croydon in the mornings. Of course, we're the other side of Croydon, north of Croydon, and therefore we don't have that issue. And of course, from Zone 3 station point of view, a little bit cheaper, not as good, of course, as Zone 2 or 1, but they come at a much higher price tag. And the ones that don't don't quite have the edge, in my view, many of them anyway. And mostly it's the Zone 4 areas that can be a little bit posher and nicer. Now, Wednesday, middle of the week, can be a bit boring, can't it? It can be one of those, not for me. I've got the Wednesday blues, but not the kind of blues you think, because it's band night. So for me, I go and play jazz on a Wednesday night, and that's the thing that I look forward to on a Wednesday. And I always say, I think you should always have something that you're looking forward to, short term and long term. You know, something this week that you think, yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing that. And if you don't, then you should find something that you want to do and target that. You know, I know these days money's tight, but it doesn't all have to be about money. It can be just visiting a park, visiting some friends, you know, whatever it is, going for a walk even, you know, or a run. I love to run, love a good run. It's difficult, isn't it? In the dark months, it can be a bit miserable. And with everything else going on around, it can feel very, very tough out there. And my heart goes out to you if you're in a difficult situation financially, especially to tenants, actually, because they're having such a hard run and they deserve more of a break than they're getting. And because landlords are getting such a hard run with interest rates, so that's knocking on to tenants and their affordability. If higher fuel bills weren't enough, they've now got higher fuel bills plus higher rents. So it's a really tough time for everybody, really, isn't it? We will get through it. Will it end? Yeah, of course it will. Excuse me. This is the advantage you have of living next door to a fire station. Every now and again, off kick the two tones, but there we are. That's London for you too. I went to London yesterday, actually. Every time I go to London, I get this kind of welling of nostalgia. And I know that sounds corny, but I do. I look at the Shard, I look at the river, and I think, what a fantastic city. How privileged are we to live in this place? I really do feel that. I don't know about you, but there's something about London and the history and just the whole thing, the whole vibe of it is fantastic. So, yeah, in terms of what else is going on, obviously, the level of interest in property has gone down. Well, no surprise there. A, because of timing, and B, confidence has fallen off. The popularity of tracker deals. Now, this is not financial advice, but it's something that our good friend Nicola McKenzie was saying, that tracker deals can be very popular right now because they are that much lower than fixed rates. This is not financial advice, and you should seek out financial advice from someone like Nicola, an independent financial advisor, in order to help you. But it's a difficult one. I had a conversation with a friend just the other day. Hi, Nick, if you're watching. And, you know, we were saying there's no right or wrong answers. Nobody can say to you exactly where interest rates will be in the medium term. Obviously, trackers, they track the base rate. So if you go for a tracker and interest rates go up, so your interest rate will go with it. The beauty of a fix is, of course, you have that peace of mind that it's not going to change over a period of time, but they may or may not suit your purpose. My advice to you generally, if you're thinking of making a change, is first of all, approach your own lender, because you'd be surprised. Sometimes people are searching elsewhere when the answer's right under their nose. Their own lender will sometimes offer them a pretty good deal without any costs. So it's well worth picking up the phone to your lender. And indeed, if you're in financial difficulty, always pick up the phone to your lender, have dialogue with them. If you think that you're likely to miss a payment, try and miss everything else if you can before you miss the actual mortgage payment, because once that's on your record that you've missed a mortgage payment, it can be much, much more difficult to get a loan, as Nicola was saying. Apart from that, not too busy in the diary today, which is good because we've got a lot of admin to catch up on, lots of notices to do, bits and pieces. So I hope you're well today. Hope you have a fantastic Wednesday, and we'll be back same time tomorrow with another edition. Until then, look after yourselves, and if you can, your family and friends. Ciao.